presenter this morning is Dave Keagle. Dave is with Best Option Insurance. He's been a member of TRP for right around 5 years. Been an insurance broker for roughly 6 to 7 years, and kind of been in public service his whole life. I've gotten to know Dave fairly well through shared rides from Longmont to Boulder once a month, and know that he's a great guy that has a lot of different interests, and at the bottom of all of those interests seems to be helping people. So with that,
thank you. Well, good morning again. Dave Keagle, Best Option Insurance. I'm an insurance broker, and you heard Gordon say something about protector. This is a nickname that I kind of picked up, that I'm here to protect my clients and to protect you from devastating losses. Okay. So today I want to talk about liability insurance. Now, does anybody understand what liability insurance is?
Insurance to protect you against liability.
Nicely done, Jeff. Nicely done. Let's not get gassy, let's keep it simple, you know?
To protect you from accidents that may happen during work.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the personal side of it. So it would be like the auto and the home, rather than the commercial. But commercial, you have liability, general liability insurance also. Okay.
protect you when you're at fault.
That's the thing I was looking for. Liability insurance kicks in when you are at fault and you have an accident. Okay, and it's not to say that we never have an accident. We're never at fault, because it happens. That's why they call them accidents. So I'm going to talk about the liability part of your auto insurance, so that you may understand. And so, first of all, everybody got a pen that I handed out? Does anybody have the test? It's not a test. Just a word. Did you say you need a pen?
I was just kidding, I was trying to do another.
$6.95. I gotta make money somehow.
It's not like getting there in the mail in about a week.
So, I'm going to lay this back here. I'm not going to use this much. Now, this is a presentation I did about 6 years ago. So, some of you, I think, Rob and Jim, Kay, and yeah, and so you may have seen this before. So you can come up with all the answers there.
Exactly.
Okay.
I remember this.
Okay, so we're going to talk about liability insurance. You will see it laid out like a number slash number. Okay, 25,000 slash 50,000. That's the state minimum. Okay, two things that you can't get away in life with life. You got taxes and you got insurance. In Colorado, you're mandated to have insurance. Okay, and then what I usually suggest that you start off with is 100, 300,000. So what's those numbers mean? If we take the $100,000, first of all, that is that if you have an accident, you cause bodily injury to someone else, then $100,000 will pay up to each person. Okay? So if they're hurt and they have medical bills, or they sue you, they'll pay up to $100,000 per person, not to exceed $300,000 per accident. Okay? So, enough of that. I'm going to talk about this little sheet in front of you. Okay? So, what it shows is on the left-hand side, it's got the liability limits. Okay, we're going to kind of fill this out together. And then it's got person 1, person 2, and person 3, and what their claim is. So, you had an accident and you injured 3 people. Okay? So, if we're looking at the state minimum, 25,000, 50,000. Okay, the first person has a claim amount of $50,000. So how much of that $50,000 is covered?
25.
$25,000. That's how much it is per person. Okay? Then how much is not covered? 25,000. So the second person, their claim is for 200,000. Okay? So how much of that 200,000 is covered by insurance?
Or 25.
25,000, because we have a maximum of $50,000 per accident. How much is not covered? $150,000. Third person, they have a claim for $500,000. Spent a lot of time in the hospital, recuperation, lost wages, all that kind of stuff. So how much of that 500,000 is covered? Zero. So how much are you left with? $500,000. So for the whole accident, how much are you responsible for? $675,000. Okay.
Can't be determined.
Okay, so let's look at if you had 50,100. Okay? So,
I'm just curious,
Uh-huh.
in person number 2,
yeah.
if 25,000 is covered,
Mhm.
and it's a $200,000 amount,
Oh,
how come
That
150?
should be 175.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
so it should be 700 grand.
Watch, that was that one.
I was looking at one.
I just talked about 25,000.
Exactly.
Why wasn't the person with the $500,000 the first one paying the claim at a chronological order of injury, or does it
No.
always go from smallest to?
No, they don't go from smallest to largest. They just say, they just broke it down here so you can see just how much is covered.
Had person 1 been the first one to file their claim? Probably not, because they spent the most time in the hospital. I mean, person 3.
If the first person, I mean, if the third person was the first one,
Gotcha.
it would still pay 50,000, I mean, 25,000.
Right, and then the other 2.
Okay.
Based on that too, after, I was thinking about this for years after the last presentation. How do you get to be the first person?
That's what he was just asking.
Right.
You don't, there isn't, or you're gonna be number 1, you're gonna be number 2. It's just for example wise.
I know, but for real life.
It's who gets files at first.
Yeah,
Person number 3 still in the hospital,
yeah,
so
it
he's.
depends on who gets, which gets filed first.
So it's important if you have a claim to file. Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the person here, number 3, they're in the hospital a long time. They don't know what their
Medical maybe, but.
cost is gonna be until they get released from the hospital.
Hey, Dave, you're gonna have a hard time getting through this if you,
I know,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, well, I'll take questions at the end, okay? How much?
3,
Oh, give them more.
jump right to
Okay.
umbrella coverage.
Let's just jump right down to 100, 300. Okay? How much is covered on the first person? $50,000. So there's nothing that's not covered. How about the second person? 100,000. That leaves $100,000, right? And then the third person? 100,000, leaving 400,000. So you're out about $500,000.
Why would the third person? Why is it only 100? Because that's the max per person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And remember, the second number is the maximum for
The whole.
the whole
So you can't
accident.
take the extra 50 from this person that they didn't use in life?
No.
That sucks.
It's just not fair.
Okay, so you can figure out the numbers if you want to use my cheat sheet, you certainly can. But I don't have the time to go through all 4 of these scenarios. Of course, the last one, if you had 500,000, 500,000, basically everything's covered about $250,000. You're still out $250,000. Okay. Now, very quickly, if you have an excess that you're responsible for, where's that money going to come from? What can they legally take from you? Now, if you flip it over, the top section up here tells you what assets they can come after. And it's just about everything. Okay? So I'll let you read that, but I mean, if you have cars, they can, after a certain amount, they can take, whatever excess is. So you may lose your cars, you may lose your, you can have a, go against your income for, depends on the rest of your
I
life.
gotta say, Jake, that really brings it home in regards to skipping on your insurance, doesn't it? You look at that like, wow.
Yeah. I try to steer people with at least 100,000, 300,000, because I know how this is. Now, there's another product that can help you. And what, does anybody know what that is?
An umbrella?
It's an umbrella,
Yeah.
okay? Usually umbrellas are 1 million, but you can get 2 million, you get 5 million. And basically what that says is that after your liability on your auto takes place, if there's excess, then your umbrella covers that. It covers the excess. So if you have $1 million there, then you can see that in all cases, that you wouldn't be out any money. You wouldn't owe anything. Okay? So umbrellas are an important thing. Now, who needs umbrellas? Who needs the increased number of insurance? I look at each person as to where they're at in their lives. A person that is very young, single, they're not going to need as much coverage, okay? Because they don't have the assets that they could lose. But if you're talking about a married couple, they got kids in college, they've got some toys, boats, stuff like that. They've got money put away for their kids' education. They have a lot more to lose.
What do those umbrella policies normally cost you?
Umbrella policies will, depending upon your other assets, how many drivers you have, how many under 25, there's other things that go into it, but normally they're fairly cheap for what you're getting. I've seen them from anywhere from $125 to $400 a year for $1 million policy.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. I have 5 million, it's 450.
Yeah, Jim's got $5 million on his, he's paid $450.
Dave, two questions, if you're at the question point. You said young people don't need it, except for the fact that their wages can be garnished for
Yes.
the rest of their life.
Right.
And the other thing is that I've been told, present company excluded, by attorneys, that typically they'll only go after what's ever available on the umbrella policy. They don't really try to reach a claim beyond the umbrella policy. Would you care to weigh in here on that?
Unless they're Donald Trump.
Well, or Hillary.
The middle part down here, now this is kind of old information, but this is what the awards, the average awards that have been awarded for those years. And then this little thin one here talks about what percent of the suits have been in excess of $1 million. So you can see that 2008, 2009, 15% of suits were over $1 million.
Why did it go down so much in 2009 for the average premise liability award?
Because of less accidents during those
Oh,
years.
what were people doing?
Not driving,
And so-
more gas.
So
Price per gallon.
last year, the death rate was down. This year, it's gone way up again. Okay. So that has something to do with it.
Legalization of weed, no.
Probably.
Causing deaths.
Should be a lot.
So any other questions?
Well, you should point out that the $1 million reward is not what the amount of the original suit was for.
That's true.
That might have been 5 or 15 million. That's just
Yeah,
what was awarded.
that's what the court settled on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you have liability insurance on your home or your rental. Most people have got 300,000. I suggest to go to 500,000. It costs about $1 a month more for your $1.50 a month more. And that covers you for $500,000. So your auto would come in first for liability, then your home, then your umbrella. So that just gives you an added pad there of extra liability coverage. Okay? Okay.
I took a class yesterday about identity fraud and theft, and how that's probably going to be the next thing that influences our businesses as we go into people's homes or help them with certain things. And lo and behold, we left a check, an earnest money check, on the car seat of our car, and someone saw that, and it was they could track it to me or something like that. But the question came up: does liability cover it, or does an umbrella cover identity theft?
No.
Okay.
No, but you can get identity theft. You can get it added on as an extra to your home, or you can get another policy for identity theft.
That's if my identity is stolen, but what if I accidentally help steal someone else's identity?
Okay.
Generally,
What's the identity theft?
it's much more lucrative than real estate brokerage, I can tell you.
I have a product that covers not only
She'll be calling you.
your
Are you a
identity
criminal
theft,
agent?
but if you're in business, if someone got into your computers or stolen information, if someone stole your computers and it has all that information there, or you had papers laying on your desk and someone came in and walked out with them.
Because there is some notion that that's going to be the next big thing to hit our business.
Well, now you're saying that it could get added onto your home, but what if you're renting and you don't have that home insurance? I mean, you don't have all.
Shouldn't that be
You-
under
you-
business,
you-
your business
you can actually
policy?
do
I
it.
have it under my business policy.
Okay.
Yeah, but it comes under the commercial business policy as far as if you're losing someone else's information, like Target did and those big companies did.
Democrat National Convention.
I'm having a hard time understanding, like, liability is when it's your fault. How would what's an example of why you would need liability for, how that would play into like owning a home? Like, so when is it your fault?
Okay, if someone comes into your home,
So that's considered the homeowner's fault?
yes.
There's been cases in Colorado that they've had people come onto property, and because you don't have your lights on, the robber broke their leg. They sued the homeowner for not having the lights on.
What? No way.
And I can tell you because Barbie has shared this, I think it was Barbie, that
15 million.
her neighbor was out talking to her, and Barbie's dog came up and bit the person.
Ran into her leg and blew up her knee, is what happened.
Yeah, and she found out that she was being sued by her neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the liability.
I'd like your
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.